Hey everyone! I know you're all waiting for the Super Bowl sponsor spot to come in, but I'm gonna have to hold it off this time around. Instead, I'd like to ask you guys to help out with getting a dear friend of mine, Henry, or as some of you know her as, Sleepy Henry, out of an incredibly painful condition. She's done a lot of amazing things and work for the fandom, and I, along with many of my friends, want to help out any way we can. To help out with the funding, go to gofundme.com/hysterectomy-for-Henry or spread the word with the link in the hashtag SendHenryToCrew. Both will be linked in the description for your convenience. Thank you guys so much and enjoy the video.
Livy is a sturdy tank engine in charge of McCrackenton Freight Depot. It's near a small town just near the hills beyond Calville and Foston, and often gets deliveries from all over the railway. But the depot is not as big as others on the railway, which makes her feel very uptight about it. If it's not Livy's way, then it's the highway. One night, Livy was cooling her firebox for the night when Jebediah, the engine who pulled the Calville milk train, eased into the sheds. He was a very kindly engine, but he was rather worn out compared to the other engines. Ugh! Keep your soot off my tanks, old-timer, snapped Livy. I've got an image to keep up with my yard. I'm sorry, Livy, puffed Jebediah. But my chug isn't what it used to be. My rods have been jamming up for the last little bit, so I've had to burn more to puff more. But why are you here now? I'm glad you asked, said Mrs. T-Mark, who ran the depot and was preparing to head home for the night. We've just gotten a contract to store and deliver dairy products from all over the railway beginning tomorrow. Livy was shocked. Her yard a dairy yard? But why? Can't that Cormac keep track of cheese with his silly prawns? I'm sorry, Livy, but we finalized the agreement. But it will keep our yard busy, and it'll open up a lot of opportunities if we do it well. But Livy didn't think so. Her yard had to be the way she wanted it. Next morning, the first load started to crawl in with Jebediah's first train. He brought churns of milk from the Gardenia Bay and Calville dairies. Then Tootle delivered cream from Inkblota Towers Creamery. Then Emily delivered butter and eggs from Cliffstone Farms. And Olwen delivered the biggest load of all, cheeses from the Selgrub Bay Cheese Company. Every cheese you could imagine was packed into vans. Cheddar, mozzarella, feta, Swiss, string, Stilton, and even Wensleydale. The vans and refrigerated cars all packed the yards. Siding after siding seemed to be moving vans out and then vans in. Livy couldn't stand it. My yard should be an industrial space with construction materials, containers, and important things. Not a storage yard for a cheese festival. Did someone say cheese? And the more and more freight came in, the more and more she got tired of it. And she didn't treat poor Jebediah any nicer, especially when his rods finally gave out when parking home at the sheds one night. Oh, gosh darn it. Oh, fantastic, she cracked. Now what are we going to do about the Calville train? Don't fret about it, said Mrs. T-Mark. I'm sure Mrs. Ella will find another engine for the job. Now you'd better find a flat car and get poor Jebediah over to the works. And so she did. But her words flew around in her boiler. Find another engine to do the job. Find another engine to do the job. And that's when Livy made a plan. A firelighter comes every morning to ready the engines for the day. After the firelighter left this morning, Livy put her plan into motion. She rounded up every dairy car in the yard and coupled them all together. Then, with a bit of strain, she began to haul the cars off down the line to Blutsburg West Yard. They've got so many sidings there that little blue pressure cooker won't mind having some extra work to do. but she'd forgotten about Foston. Foston has two main line connections, a passenger line that leads up to the big station and the small commuter station, and a freight line that goes through the goods yard. Livy was hoping she'd be taken onto the passenger line where she usually went with her traffic, but the signalman hadn't known about Livy, and she was kept on the goods line, following a slow freight before her. "Oh, bother," she said. "Miss T-Mark will be finishing her breakfast and driving to the yards by now." But that was about to be the least of her worries, for there came a sound that rattled through her vents. "Oh no!" she cried. "It's the Sunrise Skyrocket!" She tried to go faster, but there were too many cars behind her. She thought she would be okay, but just as the train was halfway across the points, 2 cars were in pieces. No one had been hurt, and soon Tracy arrived with workmen to help clean up the mess. Miss T-Mark also arrived onto the scene of chaos. Cheese and butter lay all over the track, but worst of all was Livy. She was splattered with cheese all across her side tanks. And as if she didn't make herself look silly enough, 2 wheels of Stilton were stuck and melting on her 2 whistles. "You're very lucky that only a small part of the deliveries are being delayed thanks to you. But I hope you understand now that there are times when you should talk to us about concerns. But thinking cheese and milk cars make your yard look silly is not one of them." "Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Once you've been cleaned up and mended, you can take care of Jebediah's milk train until he's repaired. And you learn to think of more than what you'd like the yard to be run like." "Yes, ma'am."